News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
KVNU News Time is 4:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Logan Extermination. Since leaving office nearly 3 years ago, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert has kept himself occupied. He is the namesake for a new Institute for Public Policy at Utah Valley University in Orem. He appeared on KVNU's For the People program on Monday. And current governor, of course, is Spencer Cox, and he has introduced an initiative called Disagree Better to encourage more positive public discourse. Herbert said it's something that he has strived to do, and it's greatly needed today.
But I'm moderate in tone. I don't call people names. I don't say they're stupid or dumb or, because they don't agree with me. I want to listen respectfully to their counter arguments and say, maybe I can learn something. Maybe the truth's somewhere in the middle. Maybe we can find, like the founding fathers did when they had these kinds of things, a compromise. Hoo-hoo. Is that a dirty word now to try to find common ground and compromise?
Herbert describes himself as a right-of-center conservative, but says he strives to be inclusive in the process. He said the current governor is doing fine in his job. KVNU News Time is 4:04. KVNU weather for tonight. A chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening, and then showers likely, possibly a thunderstorm later tonight. Overnight low in the mid-40s. Showers likely, possibly with some thunder on Thursday. 70% chance of rain, mostly cloudy, and the high temperature in the mid-60s. It's been to 76. It's 75 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by the Duct Hunter. The Duct Hunter reminds you with fall and then winter upon us to change your furnace filter every 3 months. Your furnace will run more efficiently. To clean your ducts, call the Duct Hunter at 435-770-4813.
It's been a crazy few months with big rainstorms fueling the weeds in your lawn, garden, or empty lot, and the spiders coming inside to beat the heat. You need help. Let Logan Extermination take care of those pesky weeds and unwanted pests with an exterior lawn application and interior treatment for bugs. Call Logan Extermination today before your home becomes enemy territory. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Weed control starts at $45. Interior spider spray starts at $95.
KVNU News Time is 4:05. The Family Search Center has a new home. It was in the basement of the Logan Tabernacle, then moved to a temporary home in the Logan 4th Ward building. Now they're going to have a new space located at 165 East, 2200 North, in the same building as the Bishop's Storehouse in North Logan. On the east side of the building is a new spacious Family Search Center with all the modern technology and computers to help anyone find their ancestors and have an exciting time finding out about their relatives. Larry Peterson, the co-director since August with his wife Glee, said the center is open to anyone in the community regardless of religious affiliation. There is an open house scheduled for Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. and Saturday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Everyone is welcome to attend. And Jody Hildebrandt, the mental health counselor arrested with Utah YouTube mother Ruby Franke on child abuse charges, has surrendered her license to practice. The Utah Division of Professional Licensing shared documents Tuesday showing that Hildebrandt had signed over her license. According to the department, officials have been working with Hildebrandt's attorney since her client's arrest on August 30th to secure the voluntary surrender of her professional license with limitations, ensuring that she cannot practice if released. According to the statement, given the heinous abuse allegations, the agency felt that the surrender of the license was the best course of action to protect the safety of Hildebrandt's parents, or make that patients and clients. Hildebrandt and Franke have been in jail since their arrest, with each facing multiple counts of aggravated child abuse. As the co-founder of Connections, over a decade ago, Hildebrandt instructed clients on how to deal with anxiety, depression, and relationship issues, among others. KVNU News Time is 4:07. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Breaking news. Stimulating talk is what we do. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
As the leaves fall, so do the prices at Murdoch Volkswagen. Harvest the best deals during our Get Out and Drive sales event. The summer heat is cooling off, and there's no better time to get out and drive.
Right now, receive 3.9% for 6 years on a new 2023 Tiguan or Taos.
When you walk through our doors, you feel like family. And Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan are online at murdochvw.com.
Call 866-628-3065 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 10/2/23.
With so much financial uncertainty, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, they can work with you to help ensure you're prepared for the future. After all, retirement isn't the end of the road, it's a new beginning. Call one of the 7 branch locations in Cache Valley or go to edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
I'm Elizabeth Smart. Sexual exploitation and violence are unimaginable crimes that far too many people in our communities experience. In the U.S. alone, a person is sexually assaulted every 68 seconds. Every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. It's time these numbers change. Learn more about how you can join me in the fight against child sexual exploitation at malouffoundation.org.
When you take a walk around your neighborhood and notice all the things that make it feel like home, one thing might be a little harder to notice because somewhere tucked in that neat row of houses is hunger. Over 30 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. At Albertsons Companies and Safeway Foundations, we're on a mission to provide 1 billion meals by 2030 because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com. Let's break the cycle of hunger together.
How is your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, September 20th. September going by way too fast. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Coming up in hour 2, this will mark the third day this week that I'll say this, but yet another story from Vice News about Operation Underground Railroad and Tim Ballard. It just keeps getting worse. We'll get to that in hour 2 and open the phone lines back up again. I know people are struggling to process all of this with the popularity of OUR over the years throughout the state of Utah, and just devastating news coming out about Ballard and the organization itself. So we'll talk about that in hour 2. Here in hour 1, far more positive things to talk about. It is Speak to the Mayor with Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio for the hour. If you have a comment or a question, 753-5868. A quick note for listeners as well, just finalized this yesterday with the city, but Wednesday, October 18th is Meet the Candidate Night at City Hall. We'll be broadcasting it live here on the show and also taking questions from the audience there in the, I almost said studio.
In the council
in the
chambers.
Council chambers.
We really appreciate your doing that. It's really a valuable service for people to be able to meet those candidates. There are 6 candidates for 3 open seats, so we hope people will come participate. It does make a difference.
It really does. And the questions, I've done these for a few years now with Logan City and other cities throughout northern Utah, but the questions from the audience are great, always. And so, I hope a lot of people show up. You will have a chance to talk with the candidates individually as well afterward. Ask your own questions that way if you prefer not to be at a microphone or... but we'll be taking questions. You're welcome to email them in between now and October 18th. That's a Wednesday, again, at 6 o'clock at City Hall. Meet the Candidate Night for Logan City residents. You can shoot questions in at kvnuftp@gmail.com. This is now you get a pass this year, right? No election for you, but you're as busy as if we should. Before I forget, we've talked about it a bit on the show already. And Mark Anderson gave me some tips as well on what was planned. But this Saturday, a big event is planned starting at 11 a.m. Is that right?
That is correct. We finally have the ribbon cutting for the Center Block Plaza. We have waited a long time for that, worked so hard to plan it, design it, build it, and have it be a really quality space for our citizens for a long time to come. It's a gathering place. It will bring people downtown all year round. We have the skating rink for winter to bring people in, even the cold winter months. There's a fire pit there, so when you come down to ice skate or in the fall or spring, we'll have that on. There's the stage for performances. Again, the splash pad for summer. Very, very exciting. Again, with Center Street and the Center Block Plaza, we're working on that mid-block walkway. Hopefully you can walk over to the library. You can walk to 100 South where we're upgrading that. Lots happening downtown. And then the activities, I can tell you about some things that are coming up. It brings people downtown and creates a sense of community, and that's what we're trying to...
I got a sense for that when I was there last Saturday for the Latino Festival, and I took a walk in the middle of this festival. It was dark, but I took a walk down through the parking lot there and around the fencing, around the center block construction that's still finishing there. And that was the first time, standing at that end, looking back, that was the first time I really got a sense of what kind of a space this is going to be.
Right.
It's, in my mind, this was always a small space. It's not.
This
is a large community space in the middle of downtown. Not a lot of cities have that option.
No, and we had to knock down some buildings to do it, which I know was a little controversial. But again, one of the challenges for pedestrians walking in a downtown area is these huge blocks that Utah has, given the old Plat of Zion, where cities were just laid out with a larger perimeter area and then farming in the center of the block, essentially.
Sure.
So
people forget that the downtown Logan at one point,
right?
Were cows and chickens and wheat growing and
right.
But these are it's a unique challenge for many cities in Utah that you have these downtowns with these large blocks that don't always lend themselves to businesses. Of course, are going to want to be on the outskirts of the block, and then you end up with these center areas that oftentimes just become parking lots, or even I've seen in some cities sort of just empty, unused space.
Right, and with this plaza, it opens up that block. If you think about the adjacent block with the courthouse creates some open space. There's a way to get through the block there. The Eccles Theater block is a smaller block because the canal cuts through, and so that shortened that block. The Tabernacle, it's a full block, but again, there's so much open green space. Church and Federal is divided into mini blocks. I mean, so with opening up this, that block that used to be the Emporium, again, that takes that last block that was kind of so impenetrable and not particularly usable, and again, it will create a great space. It will make it more pedestrian friendly and really be a great amenity.
The planning on it is what struck me as well. Again, as I look back from the north, looking back on the space, realizing that the planning has left parking for the businesses, street side and behind, inside the block, but also has opened up this big space that will be as you come down Main Street, just sort of invited to walk through the space. And then you think about that space during an event like the Latino Festival or the pumpkin, the giant pumpkin festival that's going to happen this weekend, kicking off the same time as the ribbon cutting throughout Saturday in downtown. That's what this is all about, right? This is a place to have those things take place. But then, as you said, also some things that will be semi-permanent, like the splash pad in the summertime, ice skating in the wintertime, things like that. What are you hearing from businesses downtown? I assume they have to be very excited. I mean, this has been an inconvenience for them, right? Lengthy
the construction has been a pain, and I apologize about that, and it simply has taken longer than we had hoped. But that's kind of the reality of construction these days. But
for everybody, right?
I think they are really now there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can see what it's going to look like, how beautiful it is. I think it will be great. Again, we've left some parking, and people, a lot of people, it's like, where are we going to park? But remember when Summerfest was at the Tabernacle? I mean, people would park blocks and blocks away and walk, and now we're making, there's something fun to see when you walk downtown now, and if you think about, if you park on First West, if you park on that public lot that's just south of the school board office, again, there's the county block. After 6 p.m., there's the Eccles block. So there really is parking. And when people complain that it's far away, I say, okay, think about if you go to Walmart. You generally have to park quite a ways away from the front door. Then once you get in the store, you walk all the way to the back to get something.
Because what you need is always at the back.
You walked a block and a half anyway. So just park and enjoy the walk
it's
downtown.
Sort of a mentality of sorts that has set in. It's kind of an American thing, really. If you've ever traveled to Europe, they don't think this way. But we've gotten the habit of the expectation of pulling right up to the door of the place that we're going to shop or eat or go see an event. And the problem with that is, you can go that way, but the problem with that, if you've ever seen a downtown that's planned that way, it's not exactly inviting. It's not, and I think that the end result of that is you have people that are there instead of for an evening, they're there for 15 minutes. They pull up to the store, they buy what they're there to do or go to the event they're going to go do, and then they leave. The idea behind this, if I understand correctly, is to make downtown more of a hangout place. People will go there for the night.
And connect things so it's easy to go between. So that is exactly the idea. And then, again, to bring, and I can talk about some of the other events we have planned downtown, but again, to have just kind of fun, festive things going on that people are like, oh, I'd like to go downtown for that. Spend a couple of hours wandering around. And so we're pleased about that.
I'm excited to see it come together. And listeners, if you haven't, there's still fencing and construction happening there, but if you want to go down and take a look, really now you can see what this is all about, and it's pretty exciting. My mind just instantly starts thinking of the things that can happen there. This would be a great space for that. And so we'll talk about some of those things.
Exactly. And the ribbon cutting is open to the public. Again, it's just 11 to 11:30. It's fairly quick. We have members of the American Festival Chorus singing several numbers as part of the ribbon cutting, brief remarks. Again, and remember that we're still working on the parking lot on the west side. There will be an entrance from the west side. It's going to be some plywood and fences to get you into the plaza. You can enter from the Main Street side. So you're welcome to come and then wander over to the Gardener's Market, which is still happening.
That's
Wander
right.
to the Pumpkin Festival, which will be going on, clear until, 7 p.m. that night.
Yeah.
So lots to do.
A great example. I mean, this Saturday is literally a day you could go downtown, park somewhere around 10:30, and spend the rest of your day in downtown doing 3 or 4 different things. And that is a really cool thing. I hope people appreciate it. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us. More of the events. Logan City getting creative about events to bring people out to downtown and other spaces. A question from a listener popping up as well. We can get to a listener asking if there is any update on research the Logan City had been doing, but I think had concluded into dog parks and things like that. And we can cover everything. 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
Hey drivers, let's face it, driving can be challenging. From parallel parking to distracted drivers, there's always something to keep us on our toes. Driving is challenging, but car insurance doesn't have to be. Hi, this is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As an auto owner's insurance agency, we do our best to find each client the best coverage and the best prices. Whether you're a seasoned driver or just starting out, Quality First has your back.
This Saturday, before the USU James Madison football game, bring your appetite to the annual Ag Day Barbecue. It's from 3 to 5:30 at Craig Aston Park in Logan, featuring beef, pork, lamb, fresh corn on the cob, onion rings, dairy products, and more. The Ag Day Barbecue is for everyone. Buy tickets at the gate or online at agbarbecue.usu.edu. The Utah Department of Agriculture and Food and Utah's Own is proud to sponsor this year's Ag Day Barbecue. It's Saturday starting at 3, Craig Aston Park. Buy tickets today at agbarbecue.usu.edu or Google Ag Day Barbecue USU.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Utah.
This message presented by the Utah High School Activities Association and the Utah Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio with us for this month's Speak to the Mayor segment, 753-5868. If you'd like to join us here, you're welcome to. We've been talking about this ribbon cutting that will happen on Saturday at 11 a.m. to officially ring in the new City Center Plaza that will take the spot of where the Emporium used to be located and some of the space behind that. Once finished completely, will be a meeting space, a venue space, an ice rink space, splash pads place. Just really gives you a sense of the vision behind all this, what the goal was for downtown. And the ribbon cutting is, as the mayor mentioned, open to the public. There will be some entertainment from the American Festival Chorus, some remarks made, and then an official designation. And one last thing, I forgot to bring this up before we were going to move on, but it has a name now. And
it does.
As I understand it, the story behind that name is worth telling as well.
It really is. It will be named the Carol and Jim Lobb Plaza. And I think most people that live in this community know how generous they've been, to many different organizations. And,
sure.
What happened is, we were planning this plaza. We wanted it to be really wonderful. We had it designed, and then the architect came back with the cost estimates. And the city council had already appropriated funds for it from the redevelopment agency, which is just for that redevelopment.
Sure.
And we were faced with either having to cut back the project or do something. And, mayors don't generally go out and fundraise, but I was committed to this project, and I thought, we have some really generous people in this community. So I reached out and started a conversation with the Lobbs, and I also reached out to, some foundations that I was aware of in Salt Lake, a couple of Eccles-related foundations that have ties to Cache Valley and have also been generous. And they were very receptive, and they're committed to our community as well and to downtown. And Jim had actually seen kind of another plaza in another city, close to a baseball stadium that he thought was kind of interesting, and this plaza seemed along those lines. So I continued to show him plans and ask for his input, and he had an architect that actually made some great suggestions. And then the Eccles Foundation came back with a $250,000 last dollar grant. So
I remember seeing the press release on that and thinking it was a typo.
I know.
$250,000.
Because they said they'd give
that was so cool.
If we raised the balance of $2 million. So we had to raise another $1,750,000 to get that grant. And I thought, oh my word, I don't think we can get there. But
it did.
Again, I went to the Lobs and we had a conversation as to whether they would be willing to make, a really generous lead gift. And they did make $1 million gift, which, benefits each and every one of us in this city. And
Sure.
I'm so grateful. And then they came in with some additional money at the end when we needed that. So we asked them.
And that allowed you to stick with the original design, right?
It did. And one thing we really wanted the plaza to do was reflect historic downtown. So the architect had designed it with lots of brick and these historic details. But that's a little more expensive. So, but we could keep it once we got this extra money and some other generous donors too. So we came up with over $2 million in total.
That's amazing. That to me is so cool to think of that much. That high number is reflective of a lot of people that wanted to invest in the downtown.
Exactly. And so we asked. At first they said no. But we kind of pushed and said, please, would you allow us to do that? And finally they consented. So I think that's very appropriate.
Cool. That's, this is the creativity behind this, not only the design, but making it happen, pulling it off with this fundraising and more. It should be a proud moment for Logan residents. And again, the official ribbon cutting on that Center Block Plaza is this Saturday at 11. This is just one event coinciding with the Pumpkin Fest and the Farmers Market happening on Saturday as well. We'll talk about some other events Logan City has in the works on the other side of these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:30, and the news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. Logan City officials have announced that improvements to the roadway and railroad crossing will be, the crossing on 1800 North in Logan are about to begin. For contract work crews to complete that effort, a section of 1800 North east of the crossing will be closed and impassable for the duration of the project. The road closure associated with those improvements was scheduled to begin today and continue until Thursday, November 2nd. Those improvements will include widening of the roadway crossing east of the intersection at 1800 North, 600 West, the widening of the railroad crossing itself, and the installation of sidewalks. City officials say that 600 West will be open to through traffic in both directions. Motorists are advised to detour south at 400 West, then west on 1400 North, and north again on 600 West to avoid the construction area. News this week from Utah State University Space Dynamics Lab is that NASA's Atmospheric Waves Experiment, or AW, earned its flight safety certificate, which clears the way for its planned November 1st launch, that is, to the International Space Station. The flight safety certificate is important because it verifies that the AW payload complies with strict safety standards. AW's goal is to determine how small-scale atmospheric gravity waves from the Earth's weather affect the edge of space. Russ Kirkham, AW's Safety and Mission Assurance Manager at SDL, said with the space station orbiting at an altitude of about 400 kilometers above the Earth's surface, the environment is challenging. Kirkham said that no safety or compatibility issues were identified for AW, and the certification provides an additional layer of protection for the astronauts living in this unique habitat. Rigorous checks to ensure Oz compatibility with the space station comprise the certification process. And the person allegedly responsible for dragging 2 horses down a residential street in Farmington has been criminally cited for cruelty to animals. Animal Care of Davis County released an update on the condition of the horse that stirred anger in the community last week. They said the gray horse has minor injuries and will make a full recovery. They also said the driver in the video was cited for a violation and has been cooperating fully throughout the investigation. Before the news of the horse owner being cited, Farmington city leaders said they received several violent threats over the incident. City manager Brigham Meller said people in the community have called in multiple threats against the city and Farmington Police Department. He said the city was first notified of the disturbing video showing 2 horses being dragged down a residential street on September 11th. He said he's never seen anything like this in the city and believes the attention it has gained will stop it from happening again. He asked that residents give them time as they continue looking into the incident. KBNU News Time is 4:34.
UNI Furniture has always been here to give you great value for your money. When it comes to home furnishings, it really is always a better buy at UNI. And right now, UNI is closing out last year's model mattresses. Closeouts on new models and displays, too. Memory foam, innerspring, and hybrids from a number of different name brand manufacturers. And ask UNI to show you this popular copper-infused mattress that sleeps cooler. And did you know UNI has a good selection of sheets and mattress protectors, too? UNI Furniture, over 90 years in downtown Logan. There's always a better buy at UNI.
Customs and Border Patrol's closed bridges at Eagle Pass in Texas due to an influx in migrants over the past few days. In San Diego County, meanwhile,
unfortunately, the processing center here that the federal government does pay for is overwhelmed.
District Supervisor Jim Desmond says they're struggling to offer the new arrivals food and shelter. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sat down with ABC's Lindsay Davis to talk about a number of hot-button topics in the 2024 presidential election, including the current frontrunner, former President Trump, who called Florida's 6-week abortion ban terrible.
He claimed to be pro-life. He spoke at the March for Life and was waxing eloquently about how everybody counts. For him to then attack people like Iowa, South Carolina, Florida, all these other states, I thought was a big mistake.
The entire interview tonight on ABC News Prime. The Fed is leaving a key interest rate unchanged, but says at least one increase is likely later this year. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
KBNU weather for tonight. Chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening. Mostly cloudy skies, overnight low in the mid-40s, and then showers likely on Thursday, possibly a thunderstorm. Cloudy, high temperature near 65. And then showers Thursday night into Friday. Friday's high only in the upper 50s. It's been to 76. It's 75 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys. Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Are you worried about how to pay the bills and take care of your family? You deserve an advocate. Now with offices in Logan, chat online at utawadvocates.com or call 801-355-5550. You can always get more news at cashvalleydaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Cheryl bringing you the daily financial market report on behalf of financial advisor Jeff Olson and Edward Jones. Markets closed lower after Fed meeting. Equities finished lower on Wednesday following the latest Federal Reserve meeting. The Fed's outlook for an extended period of higher rates drove the major equity indexes to a moderate loss and the 2-year Treasury yield to a new high for the year. A pullback in oil prices, along with a cooler-than-expected inflation report in the UK, did provide some help throughout the day. But the reaction to the Fed announcement set the broader tone. This showed up in underlying performance, with defensive sectors like consumer staples, utilities, and healthcare leading the way on Wednesday. Fed holds rates steady, remain vigilant on inflation. The Federal Reserve kept its policy rate unchanged at 5.25% to 5.5% at its meeting on Wednesday. This was the widely anticipated outcome, with markets instead focusing more on the Fed's commentary and forecasts for future financial conditions and monetary policy settings. The punchline is that this announcement was devoid of major surprises, something the market appreciates. That said, the Fed was deliberate in underscoring that its fight against inflation is not yet complete, driving a somewhat cautious reaction in stocks on Wednesday. The Dow closed down 77 points at 34,441. The Nasdaq closed down 209 points at 13,469. The S&P 500 closed down 42 points at 4,402. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 4.39% higher by 0.02 percentage points. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Jeff Olson, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 580 North Main in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact our branch office at 435-787-8170. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
At Stotz Equipment, your Cache Valley John Deere dealer, they have the equipment you need to get the job done. Handle heavier duty chores around the farm, property, or job site with John Deere compact utility tractors and compact construction equipment. They have an option for all your jobs with premium features and the right size tractor for your operation. Find out which tractor is right for you. Stotz Equipment is located 451 West 8th North in Preston, Idaho. Visit the store or check them out online at StotzEquipment.com.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello.
Yes, is Javi Silva there?
This is her.
A listener contacted us and told us how, in addition to your full-time job, you run the Franklin County Ambulance Service on your days off and serve our country in the Air Force Reserve. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm a mom.
You make me tired just hearing all of that. To say thank you for all that you do in our community, I have a $40 gift card for you to Firehouse Subs.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio for this month's Speak to the Mayor segment. If you'd like to join us, 753-5868. We spent a lot of time on Center Block Plaza, and there's a lot more to talk about, so we'll move on from that. But if you do have a comment or a question, you're welcome to bring it back up. We were going to talk about events. We talked about the Giant Pumpkin Festival that coincides with the ribbon cutting Saturday starting at 11. You mentioned the farmers market going on at the same time, and that's kind of what we were talking about. The downtown is becoming this place where you can go spend a whole day, which people should really do. It's fun. It's a unique experience. But Logan's getting pretty creative about events, planning them directly, but also inviting groups that plan them in. And then on top of this, we have the staples, right? The things that happen every year in downtown Logan. So tell us a bit about what's planned for the upcoming holiday season. I know there are plans.
Great. Well, after the kind of the fall Giant Pumpkin Festival, and I can't wait to see. It sounds like some of these pumpkins are like 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds, 1,500 pounds. So we'll see what the winner is.
When I saw that part of the event on Saturday is a photo op with the pumpkins, my first thought was, why? And then I realized we're talking like Volkswagen-sized pumpkins.
Right, and there's some serious prize money for these growers. So, but the next big event downtown, the city's the sponsor of this, is the Halloween Festival on the Center Street Downtown Plaza. And what they've decided to do is do it the last Saturday in October. Okay. So even if it's not, it may not be Halloween night, but we just think a Saturday night's kind of a lot better for people.
Easier for them to get out.
And how that first started, I don't know if you remember the Witches Dance back when they'd kind of informally do it on West Center Street.
It was kind of like a flash mob,
I know,
right?
and they'd stop traffic on their own, which was totally inappropriate.
It's probably dangerous, but it was so popular.
It was, and I went down one night to watch them, and it's like, we need to make this more of a... it was very family friendly. People had their kids and everything, but the costumes are fun. They practice this dance. They do it. So we brought them to Center Street, and, they kind of do it under the archway, and, there's a sound system, and it's just lots of fun. They repeat it multiple times during the evening. But so that event will be Saturday, October 28th. Food trucks starting at 2:30 p.m., events going on all evening until like 8 p.m. There's a free movie at the Utah Theater, pumpkin decorating, lots of things for kids, families. But then, again, the Witches Dance is kind of one of the highlights, and some live music. So a lot of fun going on that night. And then coming up, a month after that will be then the Christmas parade and tree lighting ceremony. And that's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is November 25th. And then that is when we're going to open the skating rink.
The first official opening. I'm excited to see this. I grew up. I'm of the age group where you would beg your mom to drive you past Merlin Olsen Park to see if it was, and it would it's too warm, or it's too, and so it was really just hit or miss. Sometimes
I know, but I had skates as a kid, and it seems like almost every year there was at least a period when you could skate.
It was just, I just remember one winter where it was just too warm all winter, and I was so disappointed. And this, I'm excited that this is something that will come back to Logan in a way that's more controlled, so it can be every winter.
I know. We haven't been able to do it for the last 7 years. A couple of years they've started, and then it warms up, and once it warms up and gets slushy and ruins their base, it's like you're kind of done for the season. So exactly, there are big chillers on the roof of the building there at the plaza, and so we expect to have ice skating from, barring some unusual weather, but, from the Saturday after Thanksgiving until probably the 1st of March.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it will be really fun. And people, again, they think the plaza's small, but you get in there, and it's really bigger than you think. And during the winter, the skating rink really takes up a good portion of the plaza. And it's not as big as Merlin Olsen Park. Not anywhere close, but it will be a fun recreational rink. It's an oval, because the splash pad, which is in the summer, is kind of the center of the oval, and then the skating rink is around it. And that's one reason the project was so complicated. If you saw the infrastructure under that plaza, because you've got this.
I know they had to dig a big hole. At least we all saw that, right?
You've got all the piping under for this big splash pad, which is 18, 20 feet long, and then you've got all this piping under the skating rink oval. So. It was a complicated project, but
that was, and then also I assume that all the electrical and sewer and things like that had to be new, right? Because there wasn't a structure here before.
We created that, and then the stage. There's a great sound system, and there's a screen for movies, and
just very cool.
Again, very multi-purpose, lots of things. But so October 28th for the Halloween Festival, November 25th, again, both of those is Saturday for Santa's Arrival, the downtown Christmas parade and tree lighting ceremony. So some fun things to look forward to.
That's a question from a listener, and Bill might actually be able to help answer this too, because I know this gets complicated, but a listener wanting to know if there are any plans to do a projected Aggie game again. It was done on the side of the bank, I think, a couple of years ago. That's a little more complicated now, right, with television contracts and other broadcast things. I'm not sure what USU's rules are anymore on that.
I know, but we had a conversation with someone from kind of the U.S. Athletic Marketing Department. Wouldn't it be fun to have kind of a pep rally before a game with, maybe Big Blue and the Spirit Squad, and then, maybe have a procession up to the game? Or, there's lots of possibilities where we have a whole list of options, kind of things that our staff is thinking about it, because it'll be run by the Logan Parks and Rec staff, and they'll be programming it. There'll be kind of passive activities like a giant chessboard and different activities they rotate out, but also a lot of scheduled events. So it keeps it, varied and interesting. And so send us your ideas, and
it's a good idea.
We're working on a lot of things.
To kind of frame all this as well, this is, a bit off the topic, but related. But I know, and I'm sure that Logan City's had more in-depth conversations with us, but I'd heard from the executive director of Cache Valley Transit District, they expect all of these changes in downtown to create such a pull of people to downtown, that they expect they may have to alter some of the way they do their routes or the number of buses even, and that's good news, right?
Right,
We
and
want to hear that.
Exactly, and I know their new loop route, which is
That's
something
popular.
It is popular, and it's a great, you don't have to go to the transit center and change. It goes from USU downtown, which is something we had talked to them about over the years and hoped that would happen, and they listened to us, and they, it took a little while, but they made it happen, and I think it's now a very popular route. And
I think the Latino Festival last weekend, there were a lot of USU students.
That's great.
That game ended, and then that bus just kept dumping them into downtown, and but that is, it has to be encouraging to realize that this could have such an impact on downtown that the demands on public transit might be greater. That's what you want to hear, that, right? That's good news.
Exactly. And we have this year-long pilot program on the scooters, so to see, but that's a way you can get out of your car and not have to worry about a parking place or gas, but that's a good thing. And and again, as we've talked with Utah State over the years, I mean, they've been supportive in the past about really revitalizing downtown. They say that's important to us for recruiting professors, for recruiting student athletes, for recruiting students. They want downtown with some activity, restaurants and requests for a brew pub, which we now have, and there's just variety. Whatever people want, there are some fun options.
That's sort of, and then you also have at the north end of town, we've discussed this at length, and I know there aren't, any big recent developments on this. The process is just playing out, but with redevelopment plans for the Cache Valley Mall area, you're also, for students especially, I think, but for everyone, you're sort of talking about almost a spin-off of downtown at the north end of town that will have a lot of the same, I mean, of course, not the theaters and things like that, and but as far as shopping and retail goes, housing, parking, all of that, and that does sort of give you a picture of where the city's headed. Everyone's... in the future, a lot more people are going to live closer to downtown. That's where I'm trying to to get with this.
And again, with
Senate.
the south end of town, and with the the new planned pedestrian underpass to connect our trail system, and there's a great little retail hub down at the south end too, with the Riverwoods complex and the new development across the street and housing there, and the trail on the other side. So, lots happening.
That is. I'll tell this story on air. I don't have permission to, but I don't think he'll mind. But the state director of elections, Ryan Cowley, he lived in Cache Valley for a long time as a USU student, and for a few years after, I think, as well. He's now in Salt Lake, but he was here with the Lieutenant Governor's Chief of Staff, a man named Joe Pyra, who used to work as the House communication guy, and that's how I knew him, and so we text each other sometimes about Utah politics, but got a random out-of-the-blue text from them over the weekend because they've been here in Cache Valley, and it hadn't been for a few years, and they said that south end of town, the Riverwalk area, and I don't remember why they'd stopped there, but they ended up just walking it, and I got a text that just said, wow, Logan is very different now, and so I called him and talked to him about it, and they were just talking about these things. And it brought back some of the memories of some of the challenges of downtown. Growing up here, downtown Logan was literally a drive and park, do your thing and leave kind of thing, and now from the Y all the way up to 4th North is more of a be there kind of thing, and you do see a lot more foot traffic and bike traffic.
That's the goal. Again, you need people living downtown to help that, walking about. So we've had some specific goals, and we really have accomplished a lot of those goals.
And it is, I think, for listeners too and Logan residents, that's something that we miss sometimes. This is a connected plan, right? This hasn't been just independent projects, checking them off the list. You as mayor and the city for a long time, your time on the council, you know this as well. There's been an overall plan for the future of Logan City. I know does it have a name? I mean, master plan is usually what we use.
Well, we have a downtown specific plan, and it's been in place for a number of years. It's about due for an update, but that has guided things. Again, sometimes things turn out a little differently, but the overall concept, we have been implementing that. So
this is, Really fun to talk about. I know for a lot of folks, it's a lot of change, a lot of construction, a lot of closed roads here and there. Actually, that's countywide, though, not just Logan City.
Well, and again, 1800 North, but we're getting another railroad intersection, fixed up. And again, there is a little bit of pain to make it better, but we really are working on those things.
I think a good year before anybody should start complaining with 14th North finally being done.
I know,
that
hallelujah.
Is so nice. Oh, man. 753-5868 if you'd like to join us. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio for Speak to the Mayor, and we'll be back right after this.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru with Morris Columbus Travel and Delta Vacations with double discounts on your air and hotel packages to the sunny beaches of Hawaii and Mexico, to Europe and the Caribbean, and you saved like never before. And for the best travel deals on the planet, give us a call at Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
What if you could come home every day to a peaceful retreat nestled in the mountains? A place that's only minutes from downtown Logan, but offers access to national forests from your own backyard, surrounded by mountains, horse riding, hiking trails, babbling brooks, and more. All this at Maple Creek Ranch, which is now in its fourth and final phase of development. 2.5-acre lots, your own piece of paradise that's remote yet accessible. And road improvements will be completed this summer. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Go to maplecreekranch.net. Maple Creek Ranch, just east of Franklin, Idaho.
Clean it up and get it out this fall. Don't wait another winter. Let DD Auto and Salvage pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan want to pay you today. Search DD Auto and Salvage today or call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. See store for details.
If you've recently moved into our community or are attending Utah State, on behalf of the Cache Valley Media Group, we welcome you. As you settle in, we encourage you to support our local businesses. In fact, pick up a free copy of the Best of Northern Utah magazine. Let it be your compass for discovering the best our community has to offer, from quaint bookstores to delicious bakeries, electricians to dentists, coffee shops to florists. These businesses were voted the very best in our community. Go to bestofnorthernutah.com for magazine pickup locations.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines here in the studio, and I feel bad sometimes because I get so interested in all these changes and everything that's happening. I end up sort of dominating the hour with my questions. So others out there, if you have a question, 753-5868. There was one last item you wanted to make sure we got to here today, and this is a really interesting aspect of city governance at large, right?
Right. And, one thing we've been really good at is leveraging funds to make projects happen. We talked about the donations for Center Block, and our staff has written a lot of grants, and we have gotten a lot of just funding from grants that really has helped our budget. So the one that we most recently received that I'm excited about, we got $4 million through the Environmental Protection Association, the EPA. It was the Investing in America Act, but
oh, that's right.
That will help with our composting facility. It's something we had to do anyway, and there were only 25 communities through the entire country that received these grants. They ranged in amounts from $500,000 to $4 million. We got $4 million.
That's
which that's a huge amount to help us with this. This green waste facility, which will serve the entire county. Again, it will be, just a real asset. Again, we had to build it anyway, and
sure.
We're really thrilled to get that. We also recently were awarded $300,000 for a forestry tree purchase and education plan. It will.
Oh, really?
We'll need a lot of new trees in that Logan Outdoor Recreation Complex that we're planning in the southwest of Logan. They can also be in anywhere the city has a tree, in a park strip. Again, we have to provide some matching funds, but that's a 4-year grant, so we'll have some resources to plant more trees. We also got a grant for the Trapper Park Bridge that we need to put in order to access that the open space area that's in the conservation easement. So
that's going to be happening sooner than anticipated.
Sooner than we thought. I mean, just design is expensive. We got a $150,000 grant. We have to match that, 1-to-1. But those bridges, I mean, it's surprising how expensive they are. But what a huge leg up, to have half of it essentially paid for. And again,
that's very nice.
Staff, it's hard work to put those grants together and, go through the whole process. But
and for the bridge to open up the area as well to the public.
Yeah. So that's now in design. I mean, again, everything takes time. I've learned in the city, but you have to be patient. But it does happen.
That's. That is worth noting. You when we started the hour, you said these projects have been a long time in the planning and a long time, and that even that excludes the amount of time since the discussion first started. Because some of these center block downtown that's a 20-year conversation that's been going on, right?
It is, and I've been mayor for close to 6 years now. I mean, we talked about it when I was on council, but again, unless you have the vision, and then you start to go through the process, how do we make it happen then? But again, you have to have a cooperative council. Again, I have to hand it to my council members. They have been awesome. We've worked together, and so we have accomplished a great deal.
That is, I've been impressed with the discussions within Logan City on that side, including a recent planning commission meeting regarding the Cache Valley Mall development area. No stone left unturned in their questions, and it wasn't argumentative. They weren't being mean to the developer, but man, they went through everything, and
we got some extra green space out of it.
Yeah, quite a bit actually. Yeah. So I hope the public is engaging with this. All of these meetings, planning commission, city council meetings, and more are open to the public, and as you can see, a lot of important decisions are being made. All of this happening under the umbrella of the growth in Cache County as well, which much of this is going to position Logan City well on that front, as well as the growth has hit, but as it continues to hit. Exciting times for Logan residents and for Valley residents. We'll talk more about it one day.
I know these things will serve people valley-wide.
Especially that composting facility. That's it. We could do a whole hour on how the whole valley is going to benefit from that. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines has been our guest. Thanks to you, Mayor Daines, to our listeners for tuning in, and we'll be back with Hour 2 right after this here on KVNU Logan.